and welcome to Sew Your Stash. Today on Sew Your Stash, we are going to be working on projects from our sewing stash. But, of course, we have to have our mustache. Chances are, if you're a seamstress, or if you like to sew, looks like we got something for you. This series is called Sew Your Stash, and we are going to be sewing our stash. On Sew My Stash, I'm actually going to be using this old skirt. This skirt is very old. You can actually see some of the pleather coming off, and this part is really damaged at this point. I don't think there's any point in fixing this. So instead what we're going to do is actually recycle it into a brand new piece. With the help of my lovely dog, he actually got out all my fabric scraps. So we're going to be turning this old plain destroyed skirt into a brand new steampunk masterpiece. So out of my scraps, I'm actually going to be using lots of the browns like this and a lot of scrap fabrics that I have from previous projects. So I will be using this and putting this into the skirt, creating one of those like shredded style skirts. Keep in mind where your zipper placement is and how you can sew above it. If you want, you can actually distress this a little bit more and make it more rugged. I think I'm going to leave it as is, and luckily this skirt has a lining attached to it. First thing I'm going to do is separate and find all the fabrics that I want from my scrap pile. I went ahead and cut off anything that was attaching the lining at the bottom of the skirt so I can drape the top part better. And now I'm going to pin randomly where I think I want my peplums to start. Once I was happy with the placement of my peplums, I went back and started pinning in some of the fabric so I could see the full shape. The thing that is super important is to have your fabric separated into different areas. This actually really helped me before I started jumping in and started pinning all my fabrics down. I have a section for super long pieces. I have another section for medium length, smaller hanging length, and some big weird shapes that are not just super hangy. You'll see that I have a lot of scrap fabrics that look like this. Instead, what I'm going to do is try to get the best shape out of them for the skirt itself. So this one, I'm going to take another giant circle out of it, and then this I'm going to cut along this way so I can have one long strip. So you can see here. And this doesn't have to be perfect, you can mess up. Well, that was kind of perfect for me. Now I have these strips here. I have this strip here that's really long. And I have these three small triangles. They go into the small triangle area, and this will go into the long strip area. You can keep going with what you have. Oh, this is a giant circle. So I'm just going to cut this giant circle in half because I think I can use this at the edge. This would be more fun. And to create a scallop, and put that there, and then just continue going onward. For pieces that are big like this, what I'm going to do is just keep them because this can be used for something later in a different project. Make sure, if you want, you can actually use pieces like that. This one is a little bit easy, just as reference. What I'm going to do is just cut off the side piece here. Go like this. And there we go, we got that one piece, and then I guess this piece is pretty big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it big and just cut the rest of it off. Now I have one super long piece, one medium length piece, and then another small piece. And then continue from there. I'm not afraid to use salvage edges on this. I think it will add a lot more character and personality into this outfit. So feel free to do your own bidding. Once you have a comparable amount to start with, you can go ahead and start building up the bottom of your skirt. So now this is one long piece. This is one random small piece. So I'll just put that. It's not that small, so I'll just put it in this medium-sized pieces here. Here's just one tiny piece. See how weirdly cut it is? It's really long and straight, and then you have this like little flag here. I'm just gonna cut off the little flag. The flag will get put in the small area, and this will go into the medium section. So you just continue onward with the way that you want to place your scraps, and then you can begin pinning it to your skirt. Or as you saw with me, I just started pinning in any direction. But this is just another way to help you find where you want to place things a little bit easier if you're looking for a specific size. And then one more here. Doo-doo-doo. Look at that. Triangle. Tiny. Medium. I'm going to take those big chunky pieces that I showed you that I just cut up, and I'm actually going to put them at the bottom edge of the skirt. This way it creates that scallop edge that I was talking about and makes a nice layer. You don't have to put this at the direct edge like I'm doing here if you want the skirt to be shorter, but I thought it would be nice just to have extra length and cover a little bit of my legs because it's colder in Denmark, and so I'm just going to begin sewing this down. You'll see that I'm actually using a zigzag stitch, and this is because I really want these to stay in place and secure and not fray at the top so they'll come undone. I'm going to continue going around this bottom hem and up higher with more scraps pieces of fabric until I'm happy and create a nice layered effect. Here you can see what I did. I went ahead and started adding all of the scrap pieces that are really small and bulky at the bottom. That way, if the top part doesn't really cover it, I have these to cover as well. And now I can just start layering more smaller pieces around. You can see that this part is super bald. That's not good. So we need to go back with the other pieces of fabric and start pinning it again. But this time I'm just going to work layer by layer with the pieces, kind of like this. I individually placed it down first and then sewed it and then went on to the next piece to make it on top. So then we're just going to keep layering it, something like this. So what's actually going to happen is that it's just going to cascade on top of each other and then create this really cool sandwich layered effect. Why, hello. What are you doing here? For the bigger and longer pieces, I'm going to sew them as close as I can to the top of the waistband, and I'm just going to sew them directly onto the lining as before. This is just going to give it a little bit more length, and it's not just going to hang all the way at the bottom. It's going to cover any missing spots. This way, it's not going to be so bald. Go ahead and continue sewing all your long strips at the top, and if you have smaller strips, go ahead and place them in the middle of the skirt and start sewing from there. Feel free to keep any areas as bald or as massively thick as you want. Now that I have completely finished adding all of the scraps, I found this gray lace, and this is just edging lace. I'm going to add this to the bottom of the top hem. This hem is okay, it's alright, but I thought I could add a little bit of fanciness. So I'm going to add this lace to it by a nice decorative stitch. I'm going to start at one of the seams first and then continue from there. So I took out my little carriage here at the bottom, and now I'm just going to slightly line them together. I'm going to unroll a lot so I don't have to worry about it coming undone and having to restart. So that should be plenty. Now I'm just going to sew this here. I'm going to place this here. And of course I want to take my time. And of course my sewing machine actually comes with a little booklet showing me what kind of designs I can use. Because this is kind of like a scrappy skirt, I don't mind if it gets messed up. So I'm going to be using a smaller design. So I did a bunch of testing of different kinds of stitches that I have. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to straight stitch. Let's go. Oh, that's looking kind of rough. Eek. I'm going to do 2 layers then. So, I'm going to be taking a needle and thread. I'm going to take it to the parts that I pinned up previously and sew it in place. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to make a knot underneath, like so. Alright, now I'm going to the back side and doing the last pickup. Ta-da! Now we have it done. Hooray! Dystopian style skirt. Are we happy with it? Let's see. How do we like that? That looks pretty fun. Yay! I hope you guys enjoyed this video of Sew Your Stash. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in a comment down below. If you want to see me actually put this attire all together, make sure to tell me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is just a very fun, quick and easy way to recycle clothing and scraps into a brand new fashion piece. Grow your stash and sew your stash, and I will see you in a future video. Bye! Remember to keep a healthy stash by sewing your stash. And that way, we have beautiful, creative products out there in the world. Make sure to share with Sew Your Stash hashtag. And we'll see you next time. Hello? Hold on. Did that work? Can you hear me now? What did you have to say? My stash is growing.